All right, so up next we got our second part in OnShape in our Intro to OnShape series. So far we've gone over like how I want you to organize the parts. We've gone over the first part, and then now we're into part two. So part two is in millimeters. So you want to make sure that you change the millimeters. So in class, I was trying to figure out how to change OnShape to default to millimeters. And it is actually up in the document menu. So if you click on document menu, and then you can say workspace units, and we're going to change that to millimeters. And we're changing it to millimeters because it says all dimensions are in millimeters here. So once we change it to millimeters, then we won't have to worry about any conversions or anything like that. It automatically does it in OnShape. Okay, so after that, we're going to start our sketch. And so on the front view, and I like orienting the front view to face you when you're working in that sketch. So again, we're working through our steps in CAD, which are make a 2D sketch, you're going to dimension that sketch, and then you're going to extrude that sketch. So right now we need to make an outline of the side of this shape, okay? And that outline is just going to start with a rectangle, and then we're going to do another rectangle inside of it, okay? So once we're done with that, escape from rectangle, and we're going to select our trim tool, and let's see if I can actually get it to appear here. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so here's our trim tool. It's that little pair of scissors, and we're just going to cut the extra lines that we have in there out. And so we have to click on it twice because we put in two lines right there for our rectangles. Once we have that out, now we can start dimensioning it. And so our dimensions on this one, we're looking for all the dimensions going in a single direction. So if we start off with our largest dimension going across here, we can look at all of the dimensions that are running in this direction in our isometric drawing. So we're looking from here all the way across is going to be 60 millimeters. So we're going to just say 60, and now like if you put in millimeters, if you didn't change it, to change your units to millimeters, you could always put in millimeters in there and it would convert it automatically, and we already did, so it shows up as 60. Then we're going to have top to bottom. Sorry, I just said we need to put in the same dimensions all the time. So let's find all the dimensions that go across our part. So we have our 60, the 10 is going across the part. You can see how this arrow is going in the same direction as this guy. Okay, so we're going to go all the way across here. So that should be 10. And then you have 25. Okay. And then you have 15 from top to bottom here. Okay. And so we have all our measurements going in two directions here. So we have our 60, we've got 15 taken care of, 10, 25. We don't have to do the one across the middle here because you would add these two together, subtract it from 60, and that would give you your distance going across there. So we're done with dimensioning the sketch now. So we're going to hit finish sketch, and we're going to extrude that sketch, and I like to extrude from an angle here so that we can see how far that extrusion is going. So it says that it defaults to 25 millimeters. It should be 30 millimeters for our measurement. Okay, and so we're going to hit OK. And then we still have that little box to put on the side of the part. So we're going to start on the side of that part. So we're going to hit sketch, and we're going to start our sketch on the side of that part file. Okay, and you can see how it added sketch 2 in there. It even says sketch 2 right there. So we're going to go from that angle and put our little box in there. So we're going to just use a corner rectangle, boom, boom. And again, I'm going fairly fast for if I was teaching this in class, but since this is YouTube, you guys are able to pause and slow down or rewind, all that kind of stuff. So I am going quickly, but you can always stop and rewind what I'm doing. So now we've got to have our two dimensions in there. And again, this is a secondary sketch, so it needs to have dimensions telling us where it is in relation to the main part, and it also should have dimensions on it telling us how large this hole is. So we're going to start off with our feature. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Our feature dimensions. Okay, our feature dimensions, and across this should be 15 millimeters, and it should be 10 millimeters high. So now we know how large that rectangle is, but we don't know where that rectangle is placed yet. So we're going to say 3 millimeters across, or from the edge, and then it should be 5 millimeters from the bottom. And then we've got our placement dimensions. So we have our 5 millimeters, and we have our 3 millimeters, and then we also have our feature dimensions, which tell us how wide and how tall that rectangle is. Okay, so we're done with that part, and now we're ready to extrude it. So our extrusion, though, this time it defaults to adding something, right? And so in our case, so we're making a hole, so we've got to change it to a subtraction extrusion, or a removal, which is called a OnShape. So we're going to remove that material, and in our drawing it doesn't actually tell us how deep the extrusion is, so we're just going to let it default to 25 millimeters. Okay, so once you have that there, you're done. This part is fully created, you're good to go. Okay, all right, so now I think that's it. I'm going to end our video here.